Hello and welcome to another episode of What's Inside. Today we're looking at the Walking Dead miniatures game All Out War. This is put out by, how do you pronounce it? Skybound and Mantic. Now this is an interesting miniatures game because it can be played single player or with a friend. So 1 to 2 players only. Ages 14 and up, 30 to 60 minutes. The contents include 6 plastic survivors: Rick, Carl, Derek, Patrick, Liam, and Sandra. So 2 people you've probably heard of if you watch the show. 12 plastic walkers, 1 rulebook, 1 quick start guide, 1 RV, 4 cars, 6 barricades, 9 supply counters, 1 threat tracker, 1 kill zone / blast template, 1 range ruler, 1 initiative counter, 10 activation counters, 10 health counters, 6 survivor cards, 1 walker reference card, 15 event cards, 16 supply cards, 8 equipment cards, 6 red dice, 2 white dice, 1 blue die, 1 black action die, 1 yellow panic die. Now this is a skirmish game and it came out in 2016. Interestingly, this is based off the comic book, not the TV show. So the license for the comic book version was probably much cheaper than the license for the TV show. So I expect a slightly higher quality and maybe a little bit more thought put into it because they could afford to. Now unfortunately a lot of the characters you see here, like Michonne and Dale and Lori, are not in here. You have to buy them separately. I don't know if they're still supporting this. I think they are. There are several individual characters you can buy, like Maggie and Glenn. I don't know about Michonne and Dale, but it's a little misleading to put them on here. It's Glenn, I think, that is there too. I know you can buy Glenn and Lori and Maggie. And of course there's like a solo expansion, Prelude to Woodsbury. And you can buy like a constructible RV set that's real interesting. So there's actually a decent amount of support for this. Unfortunately, they are kind of pricey. But you know, they're around 20 bucks from what I've seen. They vary a little bit either way, but this core box, I picked this up for $33 US, obviously. 'Cause that's where I am. But you can usually find this between 30 to 50 depending on quantities, as it were. Most likely when this goes out of print, the price will go way up. Because I haven't seen that many of these. I had to order mine online. I didn't see any copies in game stores. So if you want the individual characters, you better get on it. Because those are getting to be kind of hard to find from what I could tell. If you can't find the core box, you're definitely not going to find the ancillary stuff real easily. And some of them are rarer than others from what I could tell because the price is ridiculously higher on a few of them. So let's open this up and take a look at what we got here. Now if you're a fan of the show, some of this might be slightly different than what you're used to. So, a lot of the show is different than the comics, at least to some degree. Alright, so that's a hollow window there. So try not to lose this or all your guys are going to fall out. I don't like it when they do this die cut nonsense on the box. Specifically for this reason. If you lose this plastic piece, you have to find somewhere else to put these guys because the insert is designed for this to still be here. So if you lose this piece, you can just reach in there and pull those guys out. So where you're supposed to put them, it's molded that way. So that's a little annoying. It's a more common thing, which just drives me nuts. Alright, so here's your brick of dice. They're in their own little thing. And then we've got a whole bunch of minis. We got some little cards here. A little stack of normal size trading cards. And some tiny cards that are supplies. underneath here, see there is stuff under here, is your board and your rules. So don't lose those. Alright, so let's get these out of the way. We'll look at the minis a little more closely in a minute. Same with, of course, the cards. And we'll see what we've got here first. How to open this. Alright, it's good plastic wrap, so be careful when you open it so you don't pop a bunch of stuff out or mess up your books, which is shockingly easy to do. Alright, so first we have this little sheet here, which is a little advertisement for the game. Looks like you get Mantic points, which could give you discounts or something. Rewards on the site. Let's see. There's scenery booster. Upgrade the card scenery in your all-out war games to high-quality 3D plastic minis to give your game the authentic feel. There's a Days Gone By expansion. There's Survivors Shane, Lori, Andrea, and Carol boosters that are pictured here. And here's where you add up your Mantic points. I don't know if this is still any good or not. Probably not. Apparently they're out of England. I'd never heard of Mantic before, but I guess they're out of England. So here's our rule book. It's got pictures of everything that you're going to get. You know, not individual cards or anything, but general idea. So that's really nice. Instructions on how to assemble the spinner. There's a needle in the case, and obviously there's a spinner in here somewhere. So that would be the threat tracker, as they're calling it here. So yeah, it looks pretty straightforward. Rulebook, nice color, pretty vibrant, decent paper. Yeah, I'm actually pretty impressed with this. Staples, you gotta watch for rust on those, of course. A little blood splotch for highlight the page number. It doesn't look like it's a super complicated game because it's only a 12-page rule book. So that's kind of nice. And it has different examples with the images, which I like because I'm a little slow on the uptake. And then here's your, that's the read first. This is the rule book, which is of course going to be more complex. That's just the like overview thing, which I would probably use that because I'm lazy. But this one is 40 pages long. It's got some really nice color to it too. Same good quality paper. Over the long run, if you're gentle with this, it should hold up. If you're one of those people that spills your drink a lot, yeah, it's probably not going to last you. But it is like that higher end gloss paper. Most of the images are either photos of minis or art from the show, or from the comic book. Sorry, nothing to do with the TV show is in here. This is all strictly based on the comic book. Some of the characters will look a little bit different, of course, so that's going to happen. Alright, this is our map, I guess. One-sided, 4 square. It's a road, obviously, intersection. The paper is pretty thin. It crumples very easily in the center. Don't care for that. It's way thinner than I would have made this. This should be tiles. But that's probably designed to get you to buy the accessories. I would hope they have a tile pack. And this is just some introductory thing, because this is pretty much garbage. It's about like a CCG playmat that I'm always complaining about. It's barely better quality than that. This is going to get destroyed from even casual use. The center is going to give way because it is very cheap paper. That center is, when you push it down enough, eventually it's just going to rip. So if you're buying this used, make sure you get photos of the map, especially at the center there where all the creases come together, because I'd be willing to bet that more often than not that's split. And the edges are probably going to be, if not bent, then probably torn. As much as I pride myself on trying to take good care of my stuff, this is get destroyed from even with me playing it. And I try very hard to make sure my stuff is in good shape. See how these look. Alright, this is a much different story. These are actually really good. Very thick cardstock. Here we have our ruler. Different little X's, vehicles. Quality looks good. Imagery looks good. First player token or initiative marker, whatever they're calling it. There's your threat tracker. There's no indication of what sheet this is for stock purposes, so if yours is missing from your box, you could replace it. None of that. That's a little disappointing. On the back, it's just these like trash things are labeled search. I'm going to go ahead and zoom the camera in so you get a better look at this, because we're going to look at the cards next anyway. So bear with me 1 second. I know that narrows the screen down a little bit, so you can't quite see as much, but it will give you a better view of what we're looking at here. So here we've got Dale's RV, and then I guess this is technically upside down. There's the car, and here's the like rubbish stuff you can search, initiative token, and the tracker, the threat tracker. And then on the other side, these are numbered. So like the number 2 here is that car. The back of that tracker is blank. And then here's Dale's RV is labeled number 3. Then you've got your search tokens, the back of the ruler, and the X's, of course. So that's that one. And then here you've got your pickup truck, cars, police car, barricade thing, some various other junk. So the quality of the pictures are pretty good on here. It's way better than the map. So I'll give them credit for that. Then you've got some like life tokens, I guess those are. And here's your kill zone blast radius thing, in case you find grenades or something, I guess. And on the back of here, these are numbered 2s for probably for medium-sized vehicles or obstacles. And then the blast zone has an actual blast. And this center area does pop out, so you can hold it by the center and the edge and center it over a mini. It looks like it's about the same size as a miniature. So overall, these are really, really good. I like these tokens. These are really thick, nice imagery on them. I like those a lot. So I highly recommend these, but the map is garbage. So let's get the minis out and the cards. Let's start with the minis. Let me get this other stuff out of the way. I need a bigger table. Alright, so we got some walkers. And there's quite a few of them. And then you've got like the thug guy with the baseball bat. I mean, you get a decent assortment of minis in here. I mean, there's 10 guys right here. Yeah, it's about 18 guys you get. There's Carl with his hat and gun. He looks so old on the show now. You can tell they take like summers off. or you know, part of the year off to film, because he's supposed to be like a lot younger in the book, I think. And there's Rick. The quality of the minis is actually pretty good. It's not great. It's definitely not the best I've ever seen, but it's decent quality. Figures are well molded. It's all one piece, so that they're not coming off their base. They're not gonna just collapse over on you if you accidentally put your hand down on one. And yeah, this one's only supposed to have half an arm. So I mean, they're pretty solid. I wouldn't go trying to break them or anything, and if you step on it, it's gonna break. But overall, I wouldn't be disappointed with these, especially for the price point. You get a fair number of minis for what you're paying for. So let's get these out of the way. That give you kind of an idea. I don't think we need to go through all of them. Alright, and in here is the spinner. But there's the minis. It's molded pretty well to the figures. I think some of them are fairly interchangeable because I'm pretty sure I just put these out of order in here. And there is little areas for dice and cards, different grooves here so you can put the cards in. But the minis look pretty decent. They're not the worst I've ever seen. They're not the best. I think the Zombicide ones are a little better quality, but these aren't bad. I don't have a complaint about these. They seem okay. Not a lot of detailing, but the sculpts are pretty good. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it'd be a big deal. But remember not to lose this little plastic piece here, or you're probably going to have to tuck half a dozen minis underneath this thing with the rules. So let's get that out of the way. Alright, let's look at the dice real quick. These are just kind of jammed in this little plastic thing, which is a little annoying. And it's like heat shrink on here, which is really annoying. Let's see if I can keep these on the table. Alright. Now these are, of course, not normal D6s. These are, you know, specifically pipped so that you have to have them. And now, as I recall, they do have a dice pack available. I would recommend getting a second set of these just so you have enough in case you lose a few, because that's always a possibility. Alright, so first we've got our white die, our red dice. There's 6 of these. And they're all laid out pretty much the same. Looks like they're all exactly the same, which is good. So the red die, we've got a double hit with an exclamation, and then one white pip, nothing, another white pip, and we're back where we started. So the white pips are back to back, and then if we go this way, we got a white pip, nothing, and the white pip. So underneath the double hit is a nothing, and there is also a nothing in between white pips. So if you have to recreate these dice, that's what they look like. Alright, then we've got 2 white die, and we've got a double explosion. Rotate it, we got a pip, blank spot, double explosion with an exclamation point, and then we're back where we started. Going the other way, we've got a 1 pip, nothing, and a pip, and then we're back where we started. So pips are back to back on the sides, and the double pip is on the other side from nothing, and then we've got the double pip with exclamation point across from a single pip. So So that's the white dice. And we have a blue die. Now the blue die has, let's see, 3, well, I'm assuming these are hits. 3 hits with an exclamation point. Then 2 pips, 1 pip, 2 pips. And then we're back where we started. So the double pips are across from each other. Then we go the other way. We've got 1 pip, 1 pip, 2 pips. So this 2 pip is across from a 1 pip. And the triple with the exclamation point is across from a 1. Now the black die. We got the sheriff badge, sheriff badge, sheriff badge, nothing. And then we're back to the sheriff badge. So if we go this way, we've got the sheriff badge here. Again, blank spot, sheriff badge, and then nothing. So the sheriff badge is across from another sheriff badge, and then the one in between is sheriff badge and blank spot, and then 2 blank spots that are back to back. Alright, and here we've got what looks like 2 flags or X's crossed. We rotate it. This way is a question mark, a face with 2 hands next to it, like that famous painting. I think it's called The Screamer, or the Home Alone look, I guess. And then we're back to the X's, or flags. I think they're X's. Going the other way, we've got little legs running, question mark, a shush image, somebody holding their finger up, and then we're back to the flags. So the flags are across from a question mark. The oh no face is across from a question mark, and the shush is across from the legs running. So the die quality is actually really good. It's pretty impressive. This one feels slightly heavier than the others. Not sure if that's true or not. It just looks and feels that way. But they're pretty decent dice, average, nothing spectacular. I wouldn't be upset with them in any regard. They're pretty average. Alright, let's take a look at these big cards here and see what these are. If I can pick them up. How do you open this? Okay, it is just a sealed bag. Super smart. Okay, so here's our big cards. First up, we've got Liam. Melee red, shoot blank, defense red, nerve low, health 4. He's 10 points. Please don't, no, nar, gurgle. So, disposable red shirt number 1. Then we've got Sandra, scavenger. She's runner. Melee of 1 red, shoot of 1 red, defense 1 white. Nerve medium, 4 health. Special rules, she's nimble. At the start of a melee, including Sandra, she may roll, I think that's a red die on, she may roll a die on a sheriff's badge. She moves out of base contact and at least 1 inch away from all current enemies by the shortest route possible, moving through models if necessary. 20 points. Now you can see here, this labeled head, and then item, and then pack. So cards down here must be in their backpack. Over here is item and body. So you can probably put armor on them or something. So let's see what else we got. We got Patrick, scavenger, bruiser, 20 points. Melee 1 white. Shoot 1 red, defensive 2 red. Nerve medium, 4 health. We have Derek, scavenger leader, bruiser, 35 points. Melee 1 white, shoot 1 white, defense 1 white, nerve high, 5 health. Leader ability, be more afraid of me. Any friendly model within Derek's kill zone uses his nerve model instead of its own. And we've got Carl Grimes, 12 points. Cynthiana Survivor. Support, melee, 1 red. Shoot, 1 red. Defense, 1 red. Nerve, medium, 4 health. Then we've got Rick Grimes, 50 points. Atlanta camp leader, tactician. You'll note the little circle here. That's a little hat. And the other 3 don't have that. So I think that's the symbol for the main characters in the show. 50 points, melee, 1 white. Shoot is 1 blue. Defense is 1 white. Nerve high, 6 health. Special rules, blood ties. If Carl Grimes is in the same group as Rick and is within his kill zone, Rick gains 1 red die to his melee attacks and defense rolls. Ooh, that's pretty good. Leader abilities, stay calm. Rick may perform this in place of a hold your nerve action. Roll the blue die and reduce the threat level by that many points. Alright, so that's our big cards. The back of these look kind of cool. I think that's an image from the actual comics. But it looks pretty neat. So let's get these out of the way. Alright, so let's go to our regular size trading card things here. These resealable bags are okay. You can buy these at pretty much any hobby shop. They're usually found at like baseball cards shows and stuff like that. And it's got the same image on the back of this one. Then there's the event deck. And it's pretty big. So let's see what we got here. This first one is a Walker, 15 points. 1 red melee, 1 red defense. Outnumbering, a single walker in combat rolls its melee value as normal, which is 1 red. The second walker in the same combat rolls 2 red. The third walker rolls 3, and so on to a maximum of 5. Alright, first event, the Herd. All quiet and low threat. The player with initiative chooses a walker and moves it in the direction of their choice. All eligible walkers within 8 inches of the chosen walker then also move, converging on the chosen walker. Medium to high level threat. As above, in addition, all prone walkers immediately stand up. Alarm remains in play, all threat levels. The player with initiative chooses a car or other resource hub if there are no cars in play. If possible, it must be one that has no survivors within 6 inches. The car's alarm goes off, creating mayhem instantly. The car will cause mayhem again at the start of every event phase until a survivor moves into contact with it and uses a search action to shut it off. Once the alarm has been shut off, discard this card. As we used to say in Left 4 Dead, you summoned the Horde. Don't shoot the cars. Alright, there's a storm a-coming. +1 threat. All quiet, nothing happens. Yet. It actually says that, I didn't just throw that in. Low, medium, high threats. The tension reaches fever pitch. Add 1 to the threat level. Immediately draw 2 more event cards, applying the results 1 at a time. Next we have Feeding Frenzy, all quiet and low threat. Roll black die for each survivor engaged in melee against 1 or more walkers. On a sheriff's badge, the model loses 1 health. If there are no models in melee, add 1 to the threat level. Medium threat. As low threat, in addition, each player rolls 1 blue die and moves that many eligible walkers toward the nearest survivor. High threat. As medium threat, in addition, every walker gains a red die in melee this turn. That could get really nasty if they're all getting bonus dies. Won't stay down. All quiet and low threat. For each prone walker, roll 1 black die. On a sheriff's badge, the walker gets up. If there are no prone walkers, add 1 to the threat level. Medium threat. As low threat, in addition, each player rolls 1 blue die and moves that many eligible walkers in the direction of their choice. High threat. 2 blue die walkers enter play. All prone walkers immediately stand up. Won't stay down. All quiet and low threat. For each prone walker, roll 1 black die. On a sheriff's badge, the walker gets up. If there are no prone walkers, add 1 to the threat level. Medium threat. As with low threat, in addition, each player rolls 1 blue die and moves that many eligible walkers in a direction of their choice. High threat. 2 blue die walkers enter play. All prone walkers immediately stand up. Next we have the hunger, +1 threat. All quiet, the walkers suddenly stop, nothing else happens. Low threat. Each player moves 1 eligible walker toward the nearest survivor. Medium threat. Each player rolls a blue die and moves that many eligible walkers toward the nearest survivor. High threat. As medium threat, in addition, all prone walkers immediately stand up. The hunger, +1. All quiet, the walkers suddenly stop, nothing else happens. Low threat. Each player moves 1 eligible walker toward the nearest survivor. Medium threat. Each player rolls a blue die and moves that many eligible walkers toward the nearest survivor. High threat. As medium threat, in addition, all prone walkers immediately stand up. The Walking Dead, +2 threat. All quiet. 2 red die walkers enter play, and the same walkers are then each moved towards the nearest survivor. That could get kind of nasty. 2 red die could really add a few on and get potential 4, I guess. Low threat. 2 white die walkers enter play, and the same walkers are then moved toward the nearest survivor. Medium threat. 2 blue die walkers enter play, and the same walkers are then each moved toward the nearest survivor. Okay, that's nasty. High threat. As medium threat, in addition, all prone walkers immediately stand up. Frayed nerves. All quiet and low threat. 1 model with low nerve, chosen by the player with initiative, creates noise. There are no eligible models. If there are no eligible models, add 1 to the threat level. Medium threat. 1 model with low or medium nerve, chosen by the player with initiative, creates mayhem. If there are no eligible models, add 1 to the threat level. High threat. As medium threat, in addition, 1 blue die walkers enter play. Pandemonium, +1 threat. All quiet. Each player rolls 1 white die and moves that many eligible walkers in the direction of their choice. Low threat. Each player rolls 1 blue die and moves that many eligible walkers in the direction of their choice. Then 1 white die number of walkers enters play. Medium threat. Each player rolls 2 blue dies and moves that many eligible walkers in the direction of their choice. And then 1 blue die worth of walkers enters play. High threat. Players move all eligible walkers in a direction of their choice, and then 2 blue dice worth of walkers enters play. Next up, Pandemonium, +1 threat, same thing. 2 quiet, +1 threat. All quiet and low threats, the walkers suddenly stop and do nothing, and nothing seems to happen. Add 1 to the threat level. Medium to high. The groans get louder. Add 2 to the threat level. Next, Roamers. All quiet and low threat. Each player moves 1 eligible walker in a direction of their choice. Medium threat. Each player rolls a blue die and moves that many eligible walkers in a direction of their choice. High threat. Each player rolls 2 blue dice and moves that many eligible walkers in the direction of their choice. Then 1 blue die walkers enters play. And lastly, Roamers. All quiet and low threat. Each player moves 1 eligible walker in a direction of their choice. Medium threat. Each player rolls a blue die and moves that many eligible walkers in the direction of their choice. High threat. Each player rolls 2 blue dice and moves that many eligible walkers in the direction of their choice and one blue die number of walkers in its play. What you gotta watch for is they end a sentence with one blue die and start the next one with another. So there's actually 2 dice there, that's why I kept screwing up. And I've never seen the cards before, so I didn't know to look for that. So I apologize for not noticing that. Alright. So it looks like there's supplies and equipment. So let's start with the equipment. Sorry the camera doesn't zoom in anymore. So it's going to be a little bit tough to see the card. I apologize. Alright, we have a hatchet, 12 points, melee weapon. Amputate, dual wield. Adds 1 white die to melee attack roll. We have bandages, special item, 5 points. Discard this card as an action to restore 1 health point lost earlier in the game. Alright, we have a 38 revolver, ranged weapon, 10 inches. 15 points, handgun, adds a white die to ranged attack rolls. This is mayhem at the bottom. Lucky hat, armor, head, Carl Grimes only, 10 points. Each time Carl is reduced to 0 health, roll a black die. On a shield, Carl is not removed and is instantly restored to 1 health point. On a blank, he is dead as usual. Well, that's a little blunt. Kitchen knife, melee weapon, 10 points. Dual wield, sharp. May reroll 1 die per melee attack. This stacks with the dual wield keyword. Baseball bat, melee weapon, 10 points. Adds a red die to melee attack roll. Bruisers may reroll 1 red die per melee attack. Next we have a 22 revolver, ranged weapon, 10 inches, 10 points. Handgun, adds 1 red die to ranged attack roll. This is mayhem at the bottom. Next we have a 9mm pistol, ranged weapon, 10 inches, 18 points. Handgun, reliable, adds 2 red die to ranged attack roll. It says mayhem at the bottom. Alright, let's move these aside and look at the supplies. Alright, we have a 2x4 melee weapon, bludgeon, may reroll 1 die per melee attack roll. Then we have a tire iron, melee weapon, adds a white die to melee attack roll. Old gun, range 10 inches, handgun, unreliable, adds a red die to ranged attack roll. It says melee, or mayhem at the bottom. Melee, jeez. Nothing! Incident, you find nothing of use. Metal pipe, melee weapon, bludgeon. Lurker, incident. The searching model suffers a melee attack with 2 red die and may only defend. The attack is subject to the bitten rule. Increase the threat level by 1 and discard this card. Another lurker. The difference here is this lurker has a little zombie symbol in it on the corner and this one does not. Just so you know. Hockey stick, melee weapon, adds 1 red die to melee attack roll. Football pads, armor, body, reduces damage taken from melee attacks by 1. Booby trap, incident, while searching, the model suffers a ranged attack from 1 white and 1 red die and the blast keyword, then discard this card. It's got mayhem at the bottom. Bandages, special item, discard this card as an action to restore 1 health lost earlier in the game. Another bandages, this one with a little zombie indicator on it. Did the first one we saw have that? Thought we had seen another bandages. I guess not. Alright, so we got 2 bandages, one with a little zombie icon, one without. Then we have bandages with another little zombie icon. Ammo reload, special item, attachment, ranged weapon. Discard this card as an action to reload the attached weapon. Another ammo reload. Exactly the same. And then a third ammo reload. Alright, so there's not a lot of equipment cards in the base set, but I'm pretty sure that there's additional cards in the expansions and maybe with the characters. As far as I can tell, the cards are nice quality. I'm actually really impressed with these. I expected it to be much lower end. The cards and the way that the cards appear to be laid out reminds me a lot of Zombicide. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does have kind of that same feel. And I don't know if that's good or bad until I play the game. But as far as I can tell, it does look like a pretty good game. The quality is shockingly good for the price. I'll give them that. I did not expect it to be this high quality, and I did not expect to want to play it as much. It's an interesting variation of skirmishing, and it does fit the theme of Walking Dead. And yeah, I think it would be a fun game. I really do. I'm gonna recommend this one, even though I haven't played it yet, just because the quality is really good for $35. It's about average from what I've seen. Between 30 and 40 is probably what you can expect until it goes out of print, then it'll shoot up. But I've seen it go for as much as 50. I think I picked my copy up on Amazon. So, yeah, I paid about 33 for it. So I'm not disappointed. The quality is pretty good. The map is garbage. Just go ahead and replicate that some other way, like with terrain pieces from other miniatures games. That little fold-out map is junk. But the tokens are really good. They did put the money into that. The card quality is good. They seem to have thought out the attack values. It seems to be kind of a hybrid between Zombicide and like Star Wars Imperial Assault. If that made any sense. But that's kind of the impression I have just glancing at it. But a lot of board games and miniatures games kind of use variations on those anyway. So nothing super innovative from really any of the games anymore. But I think the game looks pretty cool. The minis are shockingly better than I expected. I expected them to be really garbage, but they're average. Nothing to write home about, but definitely not the worst. My main complaint is the map is garbage, and this plastic window thing here, this should have been solid without the die cut, because if you lose this plastic piece, you're going to have to store the minis under the black thing, and it's a giant pain because the cards might slide out, and it's a whole issue. So that's kind of irritating, but it's minor complaints really, because the map is not that necessary. It's just a fold out of a generic looking intersection. I'm sure you could print something off of Google Earth and have it be the same quality. Actually, the printer paper would probably be higher quality. But that is what is inside the Walking Dead All Out War miniatures game from Mantic and Skybound. I think it looks pretty cool. I'm intrigued. I'm burnt out on the Walking Dead. The TV show I've lost all interest in a couple seasons ago. The comic book hasn't gone anywhere in a while, so I stopped reading that like 6 years ago. But the miniatures game here looks really cool, and all your favorite characters from the comics are probably available by now. Like I said, there's Glenn and Maggie, and on the little insert thing it mentioned Carol and Shane and a couple others, Andrea and a few others. So they do have a constructible vehicle thing for Dale's RV, which is really cool. So they have a lot of add-ons to this, which intrigue me quite a bit, because honestly this looks pretty cool, and I might pick up some of the expansions, and we'll look at those in future episodes. Actually, I know I'm gonna pick them up, so somewhere down the line, probably around Christmas time, I'll pick those up. So keep an eye out for those if you like this game, or if you're interested in it. In the meantime, that'll do it for this episode. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you want to support the channel, turn your ad blocker off for one, and pick up one of my books. The trailer's at the end of the show. In the meantime, that'll do it for me, and thank you as always for watching, and we hope to see you on the next episode of What's Inside.